being that we all quarantined, how has your writing experience been? Like, do you find that now you're really, really locked in because you have to be locked in, or this is kind of the norm for you whenever you're locked in because you're working on something now? You know what I mean? Like, how's the quarantine experience been from a writer's perspective?
Well, you know me, I'm hard to reach sometimes. So I'm always
You be
kind of
locked in.
stealing.
You be
I'm
locked
always
in.
kind of stealing my time anyway. So I'm the type to put his phone down for a couple hours and just read, right? Like literally just be reading, you know. And people find that a little a little difficult to understand sometimes, but that's just me. I came across this quote when I was young, and it said, "Above all else, protect the space in which you write, even from your loved ones." And I just printed off 60 pages of my first script, which I hope to sell, you know, within the next year. My first full feature film, right? Now 60 pages is not done, of course. I got some more work to do, but I printed it out because I know when I print something out, it's about to get done. But you know, I got my son, so you know, I'm homeschooling. So sometimes he may have to log on. We may have to go through some assignments. I'm blessed to have, you know, a lot of support, but I kind of just peek in. I got to fold clothes still got to cook, still got to, you know, do the grocery shop, all that, you know, wash the dishes.
How do you foresee society functioning for us as humans after this COVID, from your perspective? Like, how do you see it? Is it going to be one bright day and we all just go back to normal and we're dapping and we're hugging, where we're sharing meals with each other in public, like the restaurant, just the cadence of just normal human interaction? What do you see?
I was kind of talking to my son and some other people about this. You know, minus the experts who are studying and have some privy. I cannot envision that day where it's like what we thought was normal again for the next, you know, 18 months or so. That's what I keep hearing, is that we're gonna have to take certain precautions. And I think that large gatherings probably will be limited, you know, but just behavior period would be a little bit different. We'll see a little bit more fist bumps, you know. I think the distancing is going to be here for a while.
If Rob Hill Sr. was to write something from this whole experience when it's all said and done, what perspective would that come from? Would you talk from a, because it's so much that has been altered as far as, like, I'm hearing that domestic violence is through the roof, because think about it, you're just now you're really getting to know your spouse. Now you're forced to really know your spouse or your loved one or your significant other.
That's one of the most
disheartening
stats.
Say it again?
That's one of the most disheartening stats throughout this whole thing. I can't believe
you see what I'm saying? So would you speak from a, let's say that in an ideal world, if you were to write something, a project on this whole COVID experience, would you speak from an internal family perspective, a domestic violence? Like, how would that look from you in an ideal world?
Well, I'm not a writer who is, I guess, on the beat, in the sense that if it happened yesterday or even this week, I'm probably not going to write about it. I really like to digest in layers, and it kind of comes to me in flow. So, you know, on the other side of COVID, I do see myself kind of continuing what I like to call alarm clock wisdom. Like, most people know what time they have to wake up the next day, but they still set that reminder. Because we just need it. You know, we don't know how we may feel. So a lot of what I try to throw out here and suggest, you know, throughout the airways is, you know, things that people are aware of. They may just not be in the forefront of their mind at that moment. And I think where people have, you know, shown that they value me is just being able to step in and provide some insight, you know. And I think you know, my writing angle will much, it'll still be on stillness and reflection. It'll still be on growth and love. It'll still be on patience and honest virtues. It'll still be on caring. It'll still be on empathy. It'll still be on community sharing and growing. But the emphasis will be on, you know, continuing to remain open-minded and not falling in love with this performance of knowing. We do not have to perform like we know it all. We do not have to perform like we understand exactly what's next. We can cease that, and we can be present, and we can work together, and we can listen, and we can converse, and we can share, and we can restore a sense of health, right? A sense of better times. But, you know, and my writing will be focused on that.
Do you foresee a new feeling being created from this whole experience where we've been isolated from our family, friends, loved ones for an extensive period, which ain't normal for any, I can't speak for everybody, but we know that majority of people, they see their folks whenever. But do you think a new feeling might get developed, or usual feelings that already exist might just get heightened now, like anxiety and carefulness of like what you saying to people, and even somebody coughs now in your circle, y'all are just talking, kicking it, somebody coughs, it's just a normal cough, but are we looking at that person with the, like, is that heightened for a little bit?
I think that that response, that knee-jerk reaction, again, maybe you can help, you know, instead of oh, don't kill me, you know. You're not coughing yet. So I think just some common sense in that moment might help. But what I was getting a vision of is maybe people putting their phones down and actually dancing. Maybe people at social events not filming the whole thing because
we gonna clap that. We gonna clap it up.
You know, everybody's on the phone right now. So I think people might want to actually put their phones down and look at one another, talk to one another, actually be there instead of documenting everything. I think that this oversaturation period is really going to lend to some different experiences, or at least I hope.
I think just like fashion, if we just use that as an example, I think everything's coming back around. Meaning we've been saturated with the, I mean, let's just call it what we've learned, like bubblegum rap or like mumble rap, but we all like the ratchet, turn up the beat, the energy, how they saying what they saying. But, and for a little bit, what was lost is like R&B, soul, and that. I believe that certain things like the Versus Challenge, where you got Babyface versus Teddy Riley, that moment, it educated and re-educated a lot of people. Like, dang, this used to make me feel good. So to your point about the phones and all of that, I think we're dancing again, Rob. I mean, round of applause.
I would love to see.
I think we're dancing again. Dancing again, y'all. We dancing again.
And I think, again, just attuned to that Versus battle is just celebrating the music, you know, and seeing these artists who've hopefully reinvested into themselves and bought into their own catalogs, seeing their stream numbers go up, hoping that really touches their pocket now, you know.
And that's crazy.
I want somebody to come get some of this Virginia work. I want somebody to come see Pharrell, Missy.
Give it up for Virginia. Down.
I know Swizz there, which is him and Tim. They set it off. But I would love to see some legends. Bink, you know, he got iconic sounds on the Blueprint. That's a legend. Iconic sounds with Rick Ross. Knots, you know, we have some
I know about,
we got young guys, Lex Luger, you know, but Missy. I want people to come shed light on that Virginia sound. Teddy Riley did rap. So technically we've had Teddy Riley and Timbaland. You know, they both got
technically, yeah.
But I want somebody to see Pharrell. I want somebody to see, you know, like I said, my man Binks and Missy. You know, I want some people to touch Virginia. Chris Brown, Trey. You know, I throw them all out there. Push. I just want my Virginia guys to shine.
The Last Dance. Jordan, like with that experience, let me let y'all in on something. Last night after I watched the what was that, episode 3 and 4, so where they focus on like Rodman and Phil Jackson yesterday, and Rob, I had to all right. Let me just start here. I'm a Knicks fan, right? Let's just start there. That's so you know where I'm going. It ain't nothing good. Perfect. Since you're the guy that understands emotions and the heart and the soul. Let me tell you something, Rob. I really feel like I experienced certain emotions too early as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, Rob. Meaning I really felt like my big brothers or my dad or my uncle, somebody's really letting me down. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I say that to say, for them to focus so much yesterday was not just the Last Dance about Chicago. Oh, it was the continued demolition of the Knicks. You know how much footage was in there of MJ going off?
Yeah,
so from my perspective, I'm looking at it like, okay, we're watching this to get the idea about the Bulls and the inside scoop. Why do I keep seeing my Knicks?
You're taking it personal.
You know?
You're taking it personal.
Because I didn't want to relive those feelings. You ever relive the feeling like that actual feeling, what it felt like when it happened?
Yeah, for sure.
What's your perspective on the Last Dance? Are you being from Virginia? And this is perfect because Virginia doesn't have an NBA team. So are you on the Wizards side as far as because of hometown area, or are you like a Lakers fan from day one or Bulls?
So you know I lived in LA, so I'm a Lakers fan.
Oh, you're a Lakers fan, period.
Yeah, I lived in LA. Kobe got drafted like the year after we moved there or something like that.
Wow.
My grandfather, he's from Kansas, so he got stationed out in California for a little bit between Oakland and San Pedro. And he was also a Lakers fan too. So he kind of put me on the Magic in there. But I did love Jordan growing up naturally. So watching all of this is just, I'm loving the inside about Phil Jackson. I'm loving the other side about Scottie Pippen's family and why he chose to make some choices. I'm learning David Stern and, you know, his positioning of Michael Jordan during his time, you know, and how it could grow the NBA. The storytelling behind it to me is incredible. So we've been watching them back to back, right? So I'm trying to watch them from that mindset. Like, I don't know what happened, you know, tell me the story. And just seeing like last night.
How it transcends.
Right. Like last night they had a bit where they were kind of showing certain people each other's reaction or each other's words. Yeah. And just adding that layer to me was great filmmaking, you know. And so I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it 100%.
They just need to keep my Knicks out of all of these highlights. And show some other teams because it really seemed like.
But I don't really love the Knicks. Chris Childs tried to take my man Kobe out.
The two-piece. The two-piece early. I remember Chris Childs was one of my favorite Knicks. John Starks, Patrick Ewing.
I disliked y'all after that, if we just being candid. Like, I like you a lot, but I disliked y'all a lot after that. I didn't like John Starks. Yeah. I didn't want Allen Houston to make one bucket. I did root for Latrell Sprewell sometimes because he just seemed like
he okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Choke me?
Like what you? But my final question for you, Rob, is and it pretty much sums up this whole dialogue, and I appreciate you. Is who or what heals the heart healer? Like, and have you ever been asked that question? Meaning, because you're considered the bucket of water pouring into everybody, like you're the well, you know what I'm saying? You're one of the wells of the culture, I feel like, you know? So when everybody comes to you, they're scooping out of you, who refills, who replenishes Rob Hill Sr.? We have about 3 to 4 minutes, so you got it.
Well, there's many people, you know. I'll start with the all-star cast, like the real MVPs, my family. You know, I have an incredible mom and dad, and I have also loving grandparents. You know, my grandmother is still alive. Thank you. And grandparents, like I'm surrounded by a great village, an incredible village who was invested in getting me to see the best side of myself.
Yeah.
Beyond that, extend that to my friend community. I'm blessed to have, I don't necessarily have a biological brother, but, I got a brother through my mom's marriage. Blessed, he's a doctor out in Tennessee, Frankie. But beyond that, I got a chance to call friends brothers. I got a chance to meet guys and create some commonality, exchange some value, whether that be opportunity, information, or a connection.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that has strengthened me in a lot of different areas.
Sure.
Because I'm one of those guys who's comfortable saying he don't know. I'm one of those guys comfortable asking your opinion. I'm one of those, because it's not my goal to come off as the coolest or the most perfect,
Yeah.
Like, I'm Rob. I want you to remember that you knew me, not that I pretended, right? So, and then beyond that, I've got a chance to teach the world how to communicate with me, because of the way I write and the way I choose to show up in spaces and the way I choose to go to certain places. Love follows me. It's usually probably already in the room before I arrive. And I'm just thankful for that.
Wow. Is to the utmost of your genuine self, to your soul, to your heart.
I would love for people to say he was authentic in that moment. Whether you thought I was smart, dumb, but at least you felt like I was being myself.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, a certain currency that I'm not willing to trade against, my authenticity, because it has sustained me in every room. I went to 11 schools before the 12th grade, bro. I had to make so many different teams. I got varsity letters from 3 different schools. Like I've been having to mesh in different environments and be around different people, and I just love it, man. So when you say what heals me, what replenishes me, is the fact that I know I'm not creating this. If I'm aware, I'm connected to a greater source. I prefer to see myself as a river, right? Like I'm leading people back to the ocean, which is
nice
thing. You know what I mean? So I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just trying. Like I'm just trying. And I think that anybody who come across me or ever met me, ever kicked it with me, they understand that.
Sure.
I'm trying, and I'm trying for real.
And you're trying for real.
Trying to pretend. I'm not trying to do anything. You know what I mean? But be here.
I just want to say thank you. Round of applause. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for joining me on the live, man.
No, of course, man. Of course, man. I'm here when you call, bro. You know you got me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Hill Sr.
I appreciate everybody joining us too.